Listen, the more you learn, the more you earn. Welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Savali Freeman. Today, I want to get on here and give you guys some tips on going back to college if you haven't been in school in quite some time. If you dropped out of college and you went 5 years, 10 years, haven't been back to school and you're thinking about going back, this video is for you because it's easy to make a lot of mistakes going back to college, especially if you don't have anybody in your corner guiding you and giving you advice along the way. So I want to make this video to help you guys so that you can be successful in your academic journey. So I did make a video and I did state that going back to college as an older individual is a lot easier than that of a kid coming fresh out of high school. And it is easier. It's a lot easier because you're just going to have a much more mature mindset. You're going to be serious about life, serious with what you're doing, and you're just going to have the mindset over somebody that's 18, 19, 20 years old. So going back to college is easier as an older individual, but the hardest part that you're going to have to deal with is playing catch up. And that was the hardest part for me when I went back to college, was just having to catch up and relearn the basic knowledge, how to write an essay, doing basic math, things of that nature. I had to go back and relearn all those things because I hadn't been in school in 7 years. And even when I was in high school, I wasn't the best student. So that was probably the biggest hurdle of my journey. And I want to help you guys with that hurdle. And the best way to kind of conquer that hurdle is to get on Amazon and just get you some math books, get you some basic algebra books, get you some English books, and make sure the workbooks as well, and just work out of those books for a couple months just to get yourself used to doing practice problems, get yourself used to some of the English words and, adverbs and pronouns and things of that nature, because you're going to have to know those things when you're writing essays. In college, you're going to have to write a lot of essays. And it's just really important that you do that, because in college, they're not going to go back over those things. No professor is going to go back over, teaching you an adverb, teaching you a pronoun. They're just not going to do that. Even in math classes, I just took an intermediate math class for the spring semester I just got done with. And in that class, there was no calculator. You had to show all your work. There was no notes. They didn't give you any of the formulas or anything like that. And the reason why they didn't let you use a calculator is just because in their brain, you should have good arithmetic skills. You should know how to add a negative number and a positive number. You should know how to subtract a negative number and another negative number. You should just know those basic skills. They're not going to reteach that to you. And it's important that you know that. So get on Amazon, get you some books, get you some math books, get you some English books, and start practicing. Another thing that you can do to overcome that hurdle too is there's a website called Coursera, and they have a lot of free courses on there. And then they do have some courses that require a monthly subscription. I remember I took a math course on there when I was trying to study for my ACT. Pay about $50 a month for the subscription. I think it was like an 8-week course. So the faster you get done, the less you pay, but nevertheless, it's there. You can also take free English courses just to get yourself used to writing essays again, just to get yourself used to doing work, having deadlines and things of that nature again. So that way, when you go back to college, you're not so far behind, because that is the biggest hurdle. You're just going to feel like you're behind compared to most students fresh out of high school that's been in their academic journey, hasn't really taken their foot off the gas pedal, and you're just going to feel behind. So these tips are just to help you not feel so behind. So again, Amazon, get you some math books, English books, go on Coursera, take you some free courses, and just get yourself back in the pace of learning again. The second thing I would say is to make sure that you start off at a small community college or a small university. I started off at Highlands University. It is a university. No discredit to Highlands, but I didn't feel like it was a university, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion. It was probably like a glorified community college, if anything. So start off at a community college if you can, because what that's going to do is it's going to give you the opportunity to play catch up. Because I'm going to be honest, when I left Highlands and went to University of Mexico, there's a big difference. There is a huge difference in the course load, the pace of the class. You're sitting in big auditorium classrooms, 200 students. You're not getting that one-on-one time with the teacher. It's just a really, really big difference. It's a lot harder, a lot more challenging. And if I would have went straight to University of New Mexico right out the bat, straight into biochemistry, I probably would not have done that well. I probably would have done horrible. I probably would have failed a few classes, and then that just kind of would have just discouraged me. And then I probably would have been like, you know what, forget school, I'm done. So I'm glad that I didn't do that, and I don't want you guys to make that mistake either. So start off at a community college. The classes are going to be a lot easier. They're going to be smaller classes so that you can get that one-on-one time with the professor, and they're going to be cheaper as well, a lot cheaper than what you are going to pay at a university, which is good. Just in case, if you can't get the FAFSA, if you can't get any scholarships, then you can pay out of pocket for those classes. So start off small. That's the best thing to do. That's what I did. I maintained a 4.0 GPA, and it just allowed me to play catch up. It allowed me to take my time. The course load was still a little challenging just because I hadn't been in school for so long, but it wasn't too bad. So, and then another thing is just take your time and pace yourself too. Don't try to go to college out the bat, 15 credit hours, 12 credit hours. Do 3 to 6 credit hours. So 1 to 2 classes at a time. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Taking, once you get in that 12 credit hour, 13 and up, that's when it gets real. That's when the sacrifice is real. That's when, you're staying up late. You're not going to bed to, maybe 1 a.m. because, you're grinding, you're trying to study. That's when it gets real. And it's really hard to work as an adult when you got bills and everything like that. You're trying to work and you're trying to take all these classes. So you want to make sure that you kind of get your life together outside of school before you take on that full course load. So you want to start off with 3 to 6 credit hours at a time. I'm 42 credit hours in, and I'll tell you, I've never went full time. I do plan on going full time next fall, but up until this point, I've taken no more than 2 classes. This last semester, I took 7 credit hours. I had to take a third class, which was a lab for chemistry. But other than that, I've never done more than 6 credit hours, 6 to 7 credit hours. Anything more than that is definitely going to pull on your time and energy. And, you want to pace yourself. College is not a race, it's a marathon. You're not competing with anybody. You're not trying to hurry up and get done. You do want to be diligent with your time. You don't want to be an undergrad for 10 years or anything like that. You do want to kind of get you a degree plan going and, try to get done. But at the same time, make sure you're pacing yourself. Make sure that you're taking what you can handle. And again, you're not competing with anybody. You're in college for you. And you need to go at your own pace, because going at your own pace is going to make you finish stronger. It's going to make you finish better. You're going to have a better GPA. If you try to rush, then you're going to finish sloppy, and you're going to have a sloppy GPA, and you don't want that. So, you want to make sure you're taking your time. So 2 classes at a time. Don't do anything more than that when you're first starting off going back to college. And I will pretty much say that that's it as far as tips. I think that those are some good things to realize. If I had to throw one more thing on top of that, it'll probably be to just make sure that you're taking classes that matter. When you're at a community college, you're not going to graduate from there. So, you want to really take classes that are going to, help you focus on some of your weak points. When I went back to college, I took a lot of classes that involved writing. I was very, very weak at writing. My essay skills were not there. I was not a good writer at all. So I think when I was at Highlands, every class I took, it was just nothing but just essays, essays. And that's what I needed. And you got to make sure the classes that you're taking too is going to transfer over to that university. So, you need to make sure, even if you go to a small university, ask yourself, do I want to graduate from here? Because if you plan on transferring, you got to make sure that the classes that you're taking are going to transfer to the next university you're trying to go to. So you don't want to be taking meaningless classes. Take classes that matter. Take classes that are going to help you strengthen some of your weak points, and the classes that are going to transfer over to that next university that you're trying to go to. Because otherwise, you just wasted your time and you wasted your money taking the class, and then it doesn't even transfer over. And you don't want to waste money in college. Classes are expensive. So you don't want to do that to yourself. So that'll pretty much be it on tips on going back to college, is to get you some workbooks so that you can start getting into practice. Get yourself back to, doing homework again, because that's definitely a hurdle. Having deadlines, go on Coursera, take you some courses, get you some workbooks, and just start practicing, start getting your brain back into learning again. And the second thing, starting off at a small university, community college, make sure you do that. Start off small. Take your time. Don't try to go to a big university right off the bat. Take your time and catch up, play catch up. And taking, 3 to 6 credit hours at a time. Again, you're not racing against anybody. It's you against you every single day. You're competing with yourself. So don't bite off more than you can chew. Take your time, play catch up. And, when your life outside of school is right, then you can take on that full course load. But until then, take your time. There is no rush. Just be patient and enjoy the journey. And that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all learned something, and I'll see you on the next one.